Alright, today we're going to be talking about some vocabulary words in a story we're fixing to read, and it's called Return of the Jaguar. And the vocabulary words are territories, declined, ancestors, reserve, footage, and we have critical habitat, endangered species, and we have advocates and reestablished. Now, on these, can anybody tell me what territories is? We talked about this in social studies where a group was in the Indians were in the territory. So the territories is areas of land or water that animals or groups of animals defend and live. That's the same thing as for people. If you live in a territory, that's your area of land and water, and you defend on where you live. That's your territory. Decline. Can anybody tell me what declined means? If your grades decline, does that mean they go up or down? Down. Very good. Your ancestors. Can anybody tell me what your ancestors are? Correct. Your family long time ago. Good job. And reserve. If you reserve something, what does that mean? Like, I reserve this for you to sit in. That means I'm keeping it for you. But in the book, we're talking about a place where wild plants and animals are protected. So the reserve is like a big area, land that they can keep for the animals so nobody can shoot them or harm them. And footage, if you talk about footage, you've heard somebody say, well, I got the footage on video. That means they've got images or actions recorded on film or video. You've watched the footage of a ball game. It's been recorded. It's on video. So that means the footage. Now, the four we're going to talk about explicitly are reestablish, critical habitat, endangered species, and advocates. Okay. Now, can anybody tell me what an advocate is? Well, an advocate is a group of people who support a cause. Or it can be one person who is an advocate for somebody who is being mistreated in our court system. But the advocates we're talking about today is a group of people who support a cause. So, let's find that on our chart up here. And let's see. It's people who actively support a cause. Very good. We're going to put that right there. Very good. Now, can anybody tell me set up, started, or made to exist again? What does that mean when we say again? We have to do something again. Reestablished. We have to reestablish something. The prefix re means to do again. So we're going to reestablish something. That means we're going to do it and set it up and start it and it exists again. So we're going to reestablish an area. It means we're going to set it up, start it, or made to exist again. We're going to make it exist again. Now, an area that the government protects in order to help endangered species that live there. What is that called? You have endangered species and you have critical habitat. Critical habitat, yes. That is an area set up by the government to protect animals, wildlife that live in that. That means no hunting, no tearing down the trees. You can't cut, you can't do anything on this protected land. Now, the last one is a type of animal or plant that is seriously at risk of becoming extinct. Endangered species. That could be eagles. That could be polar bears. As we're going to talk about, our jaguars are becoming extinct. Now, can you tell me, I have 3 pictures over here. We couldn't find a picture to reestablish, but that means to do something again, to set up something again, and have it exist. So, what do you think this is? This is a group of people. Where do you think it's going to go? Our group of people. Very good, advocates, because that is your group of people who are for protecting your wildlife. You have advocates that you hear about protecting the dolphins, protecting the sharks, protecting the whales, protecting anything of the animals or people's rights. Now, what do you think this is? This is an area that it has some mountains, it's trees, nothing looks like it's been cut, nobody lives there. What do you think this is? Very good. It's a critical habitat. Very good. That's our critical habitat. Now, the last one. What do you think these animals are? These animals are protected wildlife. You think they're endangered? We have the polar bear. We have a tiger. We have a jaguar. We have an eagle. We have a wolf and a bear. What do you think that's going to go in our endangered species? Very good. Very good. Now, let's read the book. We're going to read the book and we're going to talk about these words in the book. Now, it says, "Hello, neighbor. In the fall of 2015, a giant spotted cat wandered in front of a hidden camera in the mountains of southern Arizona and into history. It was the first video footage captured of the only known wild jaguar living in the United States." Now, there's that word footage. That means they captured it on a camera, the video, because it was the first video footage. That means they captured him on a video. So the footage means it caught him on video or film. The next one says, "Jaguars once lived in parts of what is now the United States. There are old reports of jaguars in California, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, and Louisiana. Since 1997, jaguars have been roaming north from Mexico into the same land where their ancestors once lived." That means the group of jaguars long, long time ago, their ancestors. That means their family long time ago. Students at Tucson, Arizona Middle School, where the mascot is a jaguar, held a vote to name the big cat caught on camera. They settled on Hey-Ha, which means the boss in Spanish. Within months, the video footage of Hey-Ha had been seen by more than 20 million people around the world. He was a star. What is a jaguar? Jaguars are the 3rd largest wild cats in the world and the largest in the Western Hemisphere. Only lions and tigers are bigger. Jaguars have thick legs, a large chest, and jaws that are capable of crushing a skull. In fact, that's how they often kill their prey. Their yellowish fur is covered in grouping of spots called rosettes. Now, you look at your book, you see where it looks like a flower petal? These little black around it, that's what a rosette is. It's the rose. It looks like a little rose. People often confuse jaguars and leopards, but it's easy to tell them apart. Jaguars have spots in the middle of their rosettes. You see the spots in their rosettes in your books? This is the jaguar. This is the leopard. Jaguars can weigh 150 to 200 pounds. They can be as long as 7 feet from their nose to the tips of their tail. Despite their size, they're stealthy. That means They want to be sly. They don't want to be seen. So you remember, a cat sneaks up on their prey, so they have to be stealth. So they're quiet. They creep up. Their traits make them perfect predators in the wild. A predator is something who hunts other animals. Over the past century or so, the number of jaguars has declined. Does that mean it went up or down? It went down. Very good. Humans are largely to blame. Sometimes the killing was purpose. Hunting, for example, jaguars have long been hunted for their beautiful fur. Scientists estimate that the 1960s and 1970s, for instance, has as many as 15,000 jaguars were killed each year. That's a lot of jaguars killed. Woo! Attitudes about jaguars and other large predators have changed as scientists learned more about them. Scientists have taught us that jaguars play an important role in nature. As a top predator, they help keep populations of other animals in balance. That means they kill other animals to keep where it's not overpopulated and they don't have too many of one animal. Since 1972, jaguars in the United States have been protected as an endangered species. Now, what did we say endangered species were? A type of animal or plant that is seriously at risk of becoming extinct. Extinct means there will be no more. That means it's illegal to kill them and that the government must protect them and their habitat. In 2014, the U.S. government named 750,000 acres as critical habitat for jaguars in Arizona and New Mexico. That means the government protects in order for endangered species that live in there. So there's no hunting, there's no fishing, there's no living. You can't do anything in that area of critical habitat that the government has set. In Mexico, scientists estimate that 80 to 120 jaguars live in the Northern Jaguar Reserve. The reserve is where animals live and they are getting taken care of. It's a tough mountainous area about 150 miles south of U.S. border. Every now and then a jaguar from that population in Mexico walks into the United States. So a reserve is a place where you can have, it's not done by the government, but it is protected. Nobody can hunt or fish in the reserve. So far, only males have been captured on camera. That may mean no female jaguars live in the United States yet. It could also simply mean no females have walked in front of the camera. Either way, jaguar advocates hope that female jaguars will make their way into the United States and begin a family. That means that group that protects, that supports the jaguars. They hope more jaguars come in so we can have more cubs, babies. So only then will jaguars be reestablished. That means to exist again. They exist, but they're in the endangered species. So we want them to have more, so we want them to exist again. We want a whole lot more to come. Now, so reserve means it's an area that the government does not set up, but it's a place for the animals where they are protected. It is a place from using or disposing, retained for future use. So they're holding it. It is for people, for the animals, so people cannot hunt or fish, and they can't be taken down for any reason. Now, Your ancestors are the people who lived long, long ago. A footage is a video film, or it's caught on film or video. Your decline means you go down. Territories is a group, an area where area of land or water that animals or groups of animals defend and live in. The reserve is a place where wild plants and animals are protected. It's not by the government, though. Your critical habitat is the government. Government protects it. So your reserve, the government does not protect it. It is a place where animals are protected. All right, guys, that's our end of our vocabulary lesson.